Hello everybody, Necroxis here, and I'm going to talk about something that I have been loath to talk about because I was really burned last year when I was talking about the whole Dark Below leak, in quotation marks, that supposedly happened, and we all know what came about from that. We got Warlords of Draenor instead, so at first I thought I wasn't going to even talk about this, but I figured, I haven't had any videos up in a couple days, and I know I said I was going to do my Warcraft 3 playthrough. I still plan on finishing that. I just kind of was not feeling well over the weekend, and that kind of just translated to... I didn't end up editing any of the raw footage that I had together, and the playthrough doesn't really take a lot of editing in the first place, but just kind of excuses, basically. I was lazy, and I wasn't feeling the best, so I haven't got any videos out. So I figured I'll put this out the day before BlizzCon. It's Thursday, I'm recording this. I also figured I'd put it out because if everything goes according to plan, there will be another video on this channel later tonight, which isn't going to be as upbeat or, I guess, interesting as I feel like this one is. It's going to be more serious about some very serious topics that'll be discussed between myself and some other people. So, anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the, quote, leak, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's a leak. I don't know what I'm going to think about this at the end. I still haven't made up my mind yet. But the potential leak of the trademark that was filed a little while ago called the Eye of Azshara. And so, for those of you who watch this channel and have no idea who Azshara is somehow, even though I talk about her all the time, Azshara is not just a zone name. The zone Azshara was named after the character Queen Azshara. Queen Azshara was the queen of the Night Elves, the Highborn. Back in the War of the Ancients, she helped summon, or tried to summon Sargeras to Azeroth. She caused all this shit. She caused the Sundering when the world kind of exploded and split into its continents. She ultimately, in the end, became a Naga, and she's been a Naga at the bottom of the sea, basically, for as much of the lore between War of the Ancients to present time that there is. So, the Eye of Azshara, where this came about was a couple days ago. I think it was 3 or 4 days ago now. There was a post. Well, pause. Rewind. Before this post, there was actually a trademark filing for the Eye of Azshara, and if you couldn't tell already, this video is very freeform, so I'm not reading off any notes per se. I'm going to go find right now, as I'm speaking to you, when that trademark was filed, but it was definitely a little while ago, and here we go, found it. The Eye of Azshara was supposedly trademarked in the European Union database on October 28th, is what the application date says, 2014. And it basically has the exact same description as all of the other World of Warcraft expansions. And so basically this video is going to talk about potentials for this being a Warcraft expansion, potentials for this being maybe the subtitle for Warcraft 4, potentials for this being, a name for a Hearthstone expansion. I'm going to explain to you, regardless of how likely this is to happen, I'm going to try and remove that from the equation because I don't know. I'm not expecting this to happen in the slightest. Like I said, I was burned super hardcore with the Dark Below, and so I'm not expecting this to happen, so I'm removing the likelihood, but I'm saying what would make the most sense with this subtitle. So that was filed on the 28th, and then a couple days ago, let me switch over my screens. Let's see, here we go. It was a post on Reddit 3 days ago, and it's not that long, but I'll read it to you because the person who posted it actually removed the information. I believe yesterday night they did. So, but we did get some screenshots of what the actual post said, so I can read it to you. It's basically said, "Hello Reddit. Thought I'd come in here and share some information I got from a friend who contacted at Eden Prairie office, which is Blizzard's office. Why should you believe me? Well, you shouldn't, and I'm not telling you to. Take this post as fun speculation, and then once it's confirmed on Friday, so much the better. The Eye of Azshara is the next expansion to World of Warcraft and is planned to launch Q1 2016. So that's January through March. Blizzard is intentionally breaking their mold and announcing this expansion at this year's BlizzCon for a few reasons. First, There's about to be a big company-wide push to bring the Warcraft franchise into the next decade with Hearthstone, WoW, and a PvP battleground-themed console game that will also be briefly teased at BlizzCon. Second, the loss of subscriptions at the end of Mists of Pandaria was a big blow to morale as they went into the expansion planning regular content patches. They want to prove to the gaming community that WoW is going to be around for a while and won't go stagnant at the end of the next expansion. In parentheses, the last patch of Warlords of Draenor is tentatively planned 4 to 6 months prior to the launch of Eye of Azshara. So, if we're to believe this post, the last patch of Warlords of Draenor is supposed to come out, July, August-ish of next year. So, who knows? The Eye of Azshara will be the South Seas expansion players have hoped for. Nazjatar will rise from the ocean, and Queen Azshara will begin an assault on Azeroth. New zones included will be Nazjatar, Zandalar, the Rift of Alm, and Kul Tiras. The Alliance will ally with a faction of uncorrupted Highborn seeking to usurp their former leader, while the Horde will ally with a disgruntled Naga tribe. These are not playable factions, but NPC factions, or playable races. These are not playable races, but NPC factions. Azshara is working closely with Sargeras, and this expansion will be the second pseudo-Burning Legion expansion, heavily Legion influenced without the Legion as a central theme, just like Warlords of Draenor is supposed to be at the end of it. They're building up to the Legion big time. Eye of Azshara will be announced and introduced at BlizzCon during a video celebrating the 10 years of World of Warcraft. Also in the video are clips of the Death Knight class for Hearthstone, and an alpha gameplay clip of the console Battleground game. The video is narrated by Martin Sheen, who is the character Nozdormu, and is said to be, quote, a glimpse into the future. The big focus of BlizzCon as far as Warcraft goes will be the content patches of Warlords of Draenor. One of the Tanaan jungle raids will be previewed. They are saying this is called Hellscream's Ascent. But the big news is that Illidan is coming back. When the Legion begins to invade Draenor in 6.1, Khadgar believes it's time to fight fire, and with the help of Chromie, sends the players back in time on Azeroth to free Illidan from his prison. Illidan comes in as a wild card, leading a faction of demon hunters against the Legion and Gul'dan. My friend says she doesn't know for sure, but this sounds like a demon hunter as a playable class is being set up. Like I said, I don't want you to believe me because enough of these threads pop up all the time, so take this as fun speculation until Friday and then you can come back. So, that's the post in its entirety. I can't even link it to you because, like I said, it got deleted. So, before I begin, I guess I could talk about how likely this is. From this post, compared to a lot of the other supposed leaked expansions that ended up being fake, this is one of the more believable ones, at least until the very end. I could see them doing literally all of this, except for the part where we go back in time to free Illidan. Before Warlords of Draenor, I would have said there's no way we're going to do that. Now, I don't know. It still seems a little too fan servicey even for Blizzard, so I'm not sure. But like I said, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just reporting the news to you guys. So there you go. So, what has been happening with Eye of Azshara since the trademark was found? Basically, different sites have been applying it to different games. Like I mentioned earlier, some people are saying that it is the subtitle of Warcraft 4. I believe this is the least likely, because if they decide to go with Warcraft 4, in my opinion, the only logical way they can go without pretty much ruining the World of Warcraft lore is to either set the game far in the future, far in the past, or in a different universe. They really can't do far in the past because they kind of have established with their previous lore, XYZ happened. The War of the Ancients occurred, and then there was a big downtime where nothing really happened, and then Warcraft 1 happened and all of this began. So they really can't do much in the past, because if they go even further back than the War of the Ancients, all you really have are basically, you have Night Elves, you have Trolls, you could say, but the problem is, all of these races really didn't fight each other. The Night Elves and the Trolls did, but everybody else kind of just chilled in their own corners. The Pandaren kind of just stayed where they were. You know, the Vrykul and Northrend, for the most part, actually all completely just stayed where they were. The Gnomes and the Dwarves, or the Earthen and the Mecha Gnomes, whenever they became, the Gnomes and the Dwarves, they kind of just chilled where they were. So that's why I think for Warcraft 4, this at least... if we were saying this is for Warcraft 4, the past makes no sense. An alternate universe. I I would say this is stupid, but then I would have to recognize that what the expansion we're going to right now is in a different universe. But still, I feel like they're going to be connecting Warlords to our universe, and if they did make Warcraft 4 in a totally different universe, it wouldn't be connected to our Azeroth. Therefore, I feel like it wouldn't really matter. Even though I don't like Warlords of Draenor, what happens does matter. And I can't say about Warcraft 4. If they just set it in a different universe with different whatever factions they wanted, it felt like they'd kind of just be cherry-picking things they wanted to do and just shoving them all into its own universe. And that sounds kind of stupid. So the only thing that sounds logical to me is in the future. And I'm not going to talk about what potential classes or races there could be, what potential classes there could be, what the factions could be, what the storylines could be. Warcraft 4, my problem with connecting Eye of Azshara to Warcraft 4 is if they're going to do Warcraft 4 in the future, it needs to be new stuff. It needs to be a bunch of new things. Azshara is not new in the sense of being different. Azshara is connected to the current lore. Azshara is not a new innovation to the story. She's been around for a while. Why would they try and go in a new direction but use a character central to the old lore? So Warcraft 4 makes no sense. So I'm cutting that out right away. The more likely one, some people in places are reporting that Eye of Azshara is going to be the subtitle, or the title, excuse me, not the subtitle, title, for the new Hearthstone expansion. Now, here's why I think this makes no sense. Because there have been various Hearthstone developers, there have been even community managers for Hearthstone, and even not Hearthstone, who have posted different various pictures about, as BlizzCon's been getting closer, we've seen various pictures leaking, not even leaking, they've been posted by Blizzard themselves, of kind of like mechanical schematics and these weird like machine things and pictures and like rough sketches, very much implying that the next expansion for Hearthstone is going to be a mechanical themed one. And therefore, that is what we know for a certain fact, is that the next expansion is going to be very heavily mechanical themed. They even came out and flat out said it. So, I don't understand how you could connect the Eye of Azshara to this. The only way people have, and I don't even agree with it, but this is what they've been doing, they've said, mechanical stuff, gnomes and goblins. Goblins lived in the South Seas. They lived in Kazan. Kazan is in the middle of the ocean. It's connected to the Azshara, so therefore, Eye of Azshara makes sense. I don't think that makes sense at all. I think it's a very giant stretch. So I think the only thing that actually makes sense for Eye of Azshara would have to be a Warcraft expansion. And if we are to believe this post, it's pretty much everything, I believe almost everything that the Dark Below supposedly was. Or at least what I wanted the Dark Below to be. We have Nazjatar rising up from the ocean. I believe I said that for what I wanted for Dark Below. We would have Zandalar. I remember saying that for what I wanted for Dark Below. We had the Rift of Alm, or Alm, however you want to pronounce it. That's the only, quote, bad or evil place in the Emerald Dream that's left. It is where the old god, or his presence that was in the Emerald Dream, was kept because they couldn't destroy it. I believe that is what I said I wanted in the Dark Below. Kul Tiras is what I wanted in the Dark Below. Supposedly that's what Eye of Azshara also is dealing with, Kul Tiras. According to this post, the Alliance will ally with a faction of uncorrupted Highborn. Probably, if this is true, just the Highborn that have rejoined the Alliance. It would make perfect sense. It would give them the opportunity to go into the limelight and have their moment in the sun, because even though they have rejoined the Alliance, they've done pretty much nothing at all. So it'd be cool to have a Night Elf themed faction for the Alliance, where I like seeing, here's my thing, I want this to be true, but I'm not expecting it to be true. And one of the big reasons is, if the Eye of Azshara was a thing, for the Alliance, the Night Elves would be the central faction. And I'm always in favor when a central faction for the Horde and the Alliance is not orcs and humans. Because orcs and humans are boring. It's been played out. We got it. I get it. Humans and orcs, they fight each other. There's a lot of them for each faction, but they're not really interesting anymore. So we have the Draenei for the Alliance and Warlords of Draenor, which is cool. The Horde kind of gets screwed again by having more orcs. But in this next expansion, the Alliance, if it's true, would have the Night Elves. The Horde allying with a bunch of Naga is kind of weird, because why would they pit the Naga? See, I think it's weird, but also couldn't be, because if they pit the Naga against the Highborn for the Alliance, that kind of makes sense, because, you know, the Naga were once Highborn, so you could have that conflict there. You could have the Horde and the Alliance working to take down Azshara from different perspectives that both still connect to her. You know, the Highborn who have rejoined the Alliance, they rejected Azshara, what she did. They fought against the Legion in the War of the Ancients. But then if you have these uncorrupted Naga, I don't know what... Or I guess they're not uncorrupted, they're called disgruntled in this post. I guess you could have them because they were once Highborn, but they got mutated, and they're fighting against their former queen. So who knows? Supposedly, according to this post, the expansion would also be heavily Burning Legion inspired. I believe I also said this for the Dark Below. I have said from pretty much any place you've heard me talk about this, I think the way they have to go with it is connecting Azshara to the Burning Legion through the Well of Eternity remnants. And the remnants of the Well of Eternity, when it exploded at the end of the War of the Ancients, are at the bottom of the ocean, just so happens to be right where Azshara has made her capital, Nashatar. That is where the remnants of the Well of the Ancients are. So, it kind of makes sense, I think, if, you know, we went and confronted Azshara and we killed her or whatever happened, but during that struggle, she's probably would be using the Well of Eternity to fight us, using its powers, the remnants of it at least, and we attract the attention of the Burning Legion even more than we have already. That would be a great segue, I feel like, into the next expansion, which, if we are to believe this, Warlords has Legion influences through Grom and Gul'dan. The next expansion of Azshara would have Legion influences through her, because she already is allied with the Burning Legion. You know, she tried to summon them the first time. There possibly could be some interesting interactions between Azshara, the Burning Legion, and the Old Gods, because the Old Gods are the ones who are supposedly responsible for transforming the Highborn into the Naga. But we know the Old Gods are directly against the Burning Legion, and Azshara is allied with the Burning Legion. So where does she fit into all of this? I still hope in my heart of hearts that if Azshara is introduced, and when she is, what they do is have her betray everybody and try to take all the power for herself, because I feel like that would be very much in line with her character. So I think that would be pretty nifty. But there we go. I think that's everything I want to talk about for Eye of Azshara, which would make sense. You know, bringing Kul'Tiras back is pretty awesome. They should have done that in Cataclysm, but it's better late than never, I guess, if they do. Zandalar, I feel like it'd be a great way to wrap up the Zandalari trolls once and for all, because they are not dead yet. Zul, the prophet Zul, still is alive. Rastakhan, who is their king, is still alive. Their island is supposedly sinking as of Missa Pandaria. That is what we were told. So they still very much are around. Eye of Azshara, if this is real, seems like it could be tying up a lot of loose ends of things they've been hinting at for a while, like I just mentioned. Kul'Tiras coming back. The big question of what happened to Kul'Tiras has been around for a long time. Eye of Azshara could answer that. Zandalar coming back, or concluding the story of Zandalar, like I just mentioned. That's been a big question mark as well. We could be wrapping that up. The Rift of Alm from the Emerald Dream. The Emerald Dream has been a very requested thing for World of Warcraft for a long, long time. They could wrap that up. Finally introducing Azshara. She has also been a big question mark. If this is true, they would be wrapping up a very big amount of questions for their lore, and it very much would tie into the theme of trying to focus around a final battle or a final fight with the Legion, because they would have answered all of these questions. Azshara would be dealt with, Kul'Tiras would be back, the Zandalari trolls would be dealt with, Nashatar would have been dealt with. Pretty much all that would be left is the Old Gods, which I assume will come to bite us in the ass at some point. So that's pretty much everything I want to talk about for Eye of Azshara, I believe. I just wanted to do a little... It's at 19 minutes now, so it's not a short video anymore, but just a video recapping all of the information about it. Like I said, take all of this with the biggest grain of salt you possibly can. Like I said, don't expect any of this to be true. I would like it to be true. If we are to believe Blizzard with their whole, we're going to push out expansions faster, it would make sense for them to at least talk about this at BlizzCon, but who knows? So that's it, everybody. Let me know what you think about the Eye of Azshara, what I've said, what I've reported to you. What do you think is going to be? Do you think this is realistic? Do you think it could be happening? Do you think Blizzard would talk about the next expansion at BlizzCon before the new one's even out yet? What do you think Eye of Azshara, if it's real, should fit under? Should it be a Warcraft expansion? Should it be the subtitle for Warcraft 4? Should it be a Hearthstone expansion? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time. And I'm sure I'll have some videos out about BlizzCon because it's tomorrow. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you then, because there's always more lore to explore, and I hope we do that together. Oh, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and share it with people you think would find it interesting. I am always looking to introduce more people to the lore, so if you could do that for me, I'd be very grateful. Thanks, guys. I'll see you after BlizzCon's over for all of the news, and until then, farewell.